Okay, today I'm going to show you how to set up a simple endpoint using Spring Boot. So I have my basic Hello World program here in a Hello package, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to build on this to show it hitting an endpoint and just bringing back a string from a simple get on an endpoint. So the first thing I need is build.gradle. And you can find this on the Spring website. If you just go to this, follow this link, and yeah, there it is. So we can just use this as our basic build.gradle, which I already have here. I just pasted that in. Okay, next thing we need is an application. So we need to run a Spring application. And I'm just going to create an application class. And we just need some boilerplate code just to go into here. I'm just going to paste that in. It's just standard Spring Boot application. Nothing special about that at all. You can use the same code for any application. Let me just hit Alt Enter to get IntelliJ to recognize these annotations. There we go. So that's all hooked in. And next thing we need is we need to create a Get Endpoint. So what you do is you create a controller class. I'm just going to call it controller class. Obviously you wouldn't use this in real life. It just makes things nice and simple. So we've got controller class, and I'm going to paste this bit of code in as well. So if I just, if I, it doesn't recognize it, come on. Alt Enter, Alt Enter, controller class, why doesn't it like that? Ah yes, the package needs to be hello, so I've overwritten my package. Okay, so so this is the most basic controller you can come up with. So this is where we're actually defining what our endpoint looks like. So we're saying it's a get controller, and this is the URL that we'll use to hit the endpoint. And this is what we do. We return 3 X's when we hit the endpoint. So if we hit the endpoint, we return 3 X's. And that's pretty much it. So now we just need to write some code to hit that endpoint, which is pretty straightforward. Okay, I'll just paste this into my hello world. So we need this REST template. Try again, REST template. There we go. So just these 3 lines of code is all you need to actually hit the endpoint, and then I'm gonna print out the string that's returned from the endpoint, like that. So all we've got is we just defined the string. So because we're going to be running this application locally. The prefix to the URL is just this localhost 8080 default port, and there's the actual name or the definition of the URL that we've used here, XYZ456. Oops. And then we're going to create a REST template. It's just a standard Spring class, and we use this get for object on that URL, and we're telling it that we're going to be bringing back a string from this URL. And so we should be able to run it. So the first thing you need to do is just right click and run the application. So we'll start that up. So you're sort of running two threads here. So you run the application that just sits there waiting to service the service the call to the endpoint. There we go. So we can see it started the application. So that's running in the background. You can see that red square shows that you've got this process running. So now at the same time, we can now run our main method. So I'll just click on that, run it. And this little snippet of code here should be enough to hit that endpoint and bring back this XXX in the string here, which we should see pop up in a second. So there's the hello world, that's the main method starting. It does its stuff, and then there you can see it's brought back the string from the endpoint. And that's it in a nutshell, just a nice simple introduction to Spring Boot endpoint.